Welcome back to the show. It's Dim Sumdays. It's actually Sunday.
It's actually Sunday.
We did it. And thank you for joining us once again. I am Connor.
I'm Amanda.
And this is Dim Sumdays.
Bloop, 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 bloop,
All right,
bloop.
so today we are in the Wallingford neighborhood. And what are we eating?
Oh, I'm so excited. We're eating congee. Congee is a typically breakfast-style meal for people in Thailand, otherwise called jok, J-O-K. And it's usually filled with, it's like a create your own. You can put anything in it. You put shredded chicken, a little pork floss, put a little ginger, a little cilantro, whatever. You can put everything in it.
Yep, and today we are eating at Secret Congee. Roll the intro. All right, welcome to, what episode is this?
It's a good episode.
A good episode of Dim Sumdays. We're in Wallingford, and today we are eating Secret Congee. Very excited to try this. So in Wallingford, they're on Wallingford Ave. It's more of like a pop-up. So this space has been very interesting. It's right next to the Julia's in Wallingford, if you're familiar with that area, right down the street from the Wallingford side. And we're actually looking directly at the Wallingford side right now, and she's digging right in. But this like pop-up space has been really interesting to watch over the past couple months, because it took over this little window in an organic like juice bar. And then what they first launched with was mango sticky rice, which we also tried and featured on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And then they came out with a pop-up called Drunken Chicken, which was Khao Mun Gai, which is like one of our favorite Thai dishes. And now they also have Secret Congee, which is like our favorite Thai breakfast, Southeast Asian breakfast. But jok is something that we're very, very familiar with.
Hitting all the classics.
Yeah, and so for this one spot, it's all like a pop-up window, so it's not necessarily like a restaurant. It's all packaged to go. But as of today, they're building some type of outdoor dining area. I'm not sure if that's for Julia's or someone else. But yes, welcome to the Dim Sum Day episode featuring Secret Congee. And jokes aside,
Yeah, I guess it's not a secret if we're posting it on the internet.
It's definitely not a secret. All right, so Amanda, why do you love joke so much? Tell us about your love for joke.
I think part of it is sentimental, right? So
Did you grow up eating this?
Mm-hmm. My mom would make this, and it's something that you just make in your rice cooker and you just have it. So we would wake up Saturdays and Sundays, and my mom would have like the full spread. She had some like Chinese sausages, some like pork floss, all the little add-ins, and she would make it. And more importantly, this was what we were given for like lunch and dinner when we were sick. So we would eat this it's like this really nice comfort food.
Yeah.
And so we actually ate a lot of this for breakfast in Thailand because it's so easy to find. It's really delicious. It's filling. Oh my God, that scared me. It's filling. And it's create your own. So Connor can have whatever he wants. I can have whatever I want. And it's usually maybe $1 in Thailand.
Ooh, it's hot.
It's
really hot. So what do you think yours? Amanda went for more like a traditional bowl.
I have shredded chicken with egg, with a like a runny egg, so I love that. And I also got us some Chinese donuts.
Oh yes, there's also donuts.
Yep. So what you'll do is you'll take this and you'll dip it in your congee and eat the donut. So it's more like a savor. It's not a donut, but
let's try that. Yeah, it almost just looks like bread. It's definitely just like fried dough.
That's a
in
dip
the
in
congee.
dough. A dip in dough. Yeah, that with your congee.
It really is dipping dough. I was kind of expecting, when you think donut, you think sugar. Mm-hmm. And I was expecting it to be sweet, but it's definitely not sweet.
This is a savory donut.
So, Amanda's got the traditional. It's got ginger and probably like scallions, green onions, and egg. Mm-hmm. And then it's just rice porridge, right? So it's just like almost like watered down rice. Mm-hmm. That's my white person explanation. I went with one that's a little different. It's loaded with mushrooms and squash, which was really interesting. There's a lot more mushrooms than I anticipated in there, but wanted to try something a little different than the one that we're so familiar with.
Yep. And if you're not able to make it out to Wallingford, you can sometimes find this at Thai restaurants, or you can look up, my mom says the Chrissy Teigen recipe is also very good and very accurate.
Oh, really?
So if you're not able to do this, make it at home. It just requires like a few ingredients, like I think it includes ginger and maybe some rice vinegar, things like that.
Yeah.
Easy stuff that you can make at home.
Rainy days, this is such a great meal for rainy days. Secret Congee might also only be on the weekend. That's probably important to note as well. But the mango sticky rice and Khao Mun Guide, which is chicken rice that they have, is also very good. And that's really all I know about this business and what they're doing.
Do you know if they're Thai?
I have no clue. So hopefully we'll find that out here when we post. But yeah, I'm not really sure the story. Their website also doesn't include very much information about who they are or why they started. Or they say they've got Southeast Asian influence. I know, but we're real happy to have you, especially here in Wallingford. This is great, different food options and some of our favorite foods.
Yeah, you're feeding us the good stuff, so we can only be appreciative.
So what's the first topic of the week that we have, Amanda?
The first topic of the week we have is, what we did. We had a very busy weekend thus far.
Friday and Saturday were very busy with us.
Yeah, Friday we went to the Sounders match.
Yes. Sorry, I'm moving your mouth, the microphone. Watch your mouth in your microphone.
Okay.
You're talking into your Congee.
Well, because I like it. This is my love.
So we went to the Sounders match on Friday, which was thanks to our friend Dan Fletcher.
Shout out, Dan.
Who keeps track of all these things. It was over 405 days since the last time we were in the stadium. This is actually my 10th season as a Sounders season ticket holder, which is pretty incredible. And so definitely in that time frame, the longest that we have been by a lot. The longest we've probably gone without being in the stadium for a Sounders game is probably 3 months in the off season. But there's 20 games a year, so we are there on average every other weekend throughout a year, which is constantly there. So it was really refreshing. They only let 7,000 people in the stadium. Masks were enforced. We were in this tiny corner section, and there was us four, who are the two people that we always sit with, who are also vaccinated, and there were two other people in the entire section. So there was 4 rows in front of us to them, and then 2 empty rows behind us.
It was so nice.
Yeah, so we weren't surrounded by people at all. The only time we were surrounded by people is when we were exiting, and we actually said it when we were walking out. There a decent amount of people had the similar idea of us, hey, let's wait back 10 minutes, wait for some of the people to flow out. But when we were through the exits, some of the exits were blocked off, and so everyone kind of funneled into one spot, and it was wow. I think the last time we were in a crowd like this was back when we were in Thailand.
Yeah, and I think a part of it is because they're also holding the mass vaccination clinic.
Yes.
Right down in the WAMU Theater area, and so there's only so many exits you can go through that don't go into that area. So they try to funnel us, but it also felt really crowded. So.
All right, so then on Saturday, we went down to Burien for a sneak peek at Burien's newest cookie shop, Treat. I believe it's Treat Cookies on...
Singular Treat. But you can have many treats.
Treat. And it was really cool because what they set up for their grand opening was, by the time this is debuted, they will be open down in Burien. But they did a little scavenger hunt to introduce us to some of the businesses down there in Burien, and we never really spent any time on that main street. And there's a ton of local businesses right there. It was really cool to see that little development in Burien. And they wrote little clues, and we had to go to these 5 other businesses and get a stamp, and they had little prizes. And then when you got all the stamps, that gave us 4 free cookies at Treat Cookies, which we ended up buying even more for ourselves.
And it was nice because, you gotta take a breath there. It's nice because it was socially distant enough. So usually for these events we go to, we're all kind of crowded into the restaurant, and we're all taking pictures and looking at the food. So this was nice because we're not all in the cookie shop at the same time. And it was fun for us to walk into some of these smaller mom and pop shops that otherwise we might have not ever gone into, and we got to meet the owners and see what they're selling and hear their story. And so there's a couple of shops that I was I want to come back to this for sure.
Yeah, absolutely delicious cookies. They're super thick. So we really enjoyed eating those last night, as a dessert. They are very heavy cookies, and they've got all these different flavors. They've got a couple that integrate classic breakfast cereals, and they're all named. The owners are very much into like 90s pop culture, so they all have these. They're all named after like human names and characters from pop culture references, which was really cool.
Yeah, and she said she's gonna do some like 90s flavors coming up soon, so I'm really excited because I hope that means Dunkaroos.
Dunkaroos.
I want Dunkaroos.
That's your suggestion for them, Dunkaroos?
Dunkaroos, baby.
That's pretty funny. That's a good throwback right there.
Right? It's perfect 90s.
But yes, check out, if you're down on the South End, you're down in Burien, please go check out Treat Cookies. They are just wonderful and absolutely delicious and a very good treat.
Yeah.
If you're looking for one.
We have been really into sugar lately, and it's probably not good for us.
Lately, I have such a bad sugar addiction.
You do.
It is
it's
absolutely
in your coffee.
crazy.
It's in your coffee.
This is something else that I've noticed. Let's backtrack. One of our favorite coffee shops in Lower Queen Anne, the place that we like constantly visit, is called Cafe Zingaro. Mm-hmm. And we've lived in the neighborhood for 7 years, so it's like our go-to spot, and we have a big selection of coffee shops. Yeah. But why this place has stuck out to us beyond just the friendliness of the people who own it and work there are specifically their white chocolate mochas stand out above so many other mocha drinks in the city because they use the powdered version of Ghirardelli chocolate. So most places when you get a mocha or a white mocha, it's going to be like the syrup. But they use the powdered white chocolate, and it absolutely like makes it the best white mocha in the entire city. And so, because we're in the pandemic and we weren't going, I wasn't supposed to use that word.
He broke his own rule.
I broke my own rule. Because we've just been having coffee so much more at home, I bought this can of Ghirardelli white chocolate to be putting in my coffee to replace any sugar that we put in. Mm-hmm. And I've been getting to the point drinking coffee to where I crave a second cup. Like, we get to that 1 o'clock time and I'm starting to like slow down in the day. I desperately want a second cup.
I think 1 o'clock is very nice of him to say, because usually my memory is right around 3 o'clock. It's just past the time.
Okay, the time doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It's like almost dinner time by the time he wants a second cup of coffee.
Okay, so the rest of the story, though, is I've been trying to, like, get myself off this late 3 p.m. second cup of coffee because it just makes it harder to go to sleep, right? Got to substitute it with some other beverage, food, or just something to snack on. And this past week, I ran out of that white chocolate. So this whole week, I have been having to drink my coffee like a normal person with just half and half and normal sugar if I want to put sugar in it. And I've realized, A, I don't pound that first cup of coffee nearly as quickly, and I don't have the craving for the second cup of coffee. I'm not so desperate. And
you can tell we figured out the source of Connor's coffee addiction.
It's not the coffee. I'm just so addicted to this white chocolate Ghirardelli powder. It's so delicious and so tasty that I think my body's like, you should make yourself more white chocolate coffee because it's so delicious.
Because you love it so much.
Hey, what size you want, man? I don't know, man. I just gotta have it. Put some ice cream in a cup. I'm tweaking.
And so we'll see if I buy another one. I desperately want to. It's so good. It makes my coffee just a highlight of my day. And I feel like this week I took that special thing that I have in the morning.
It ripped out.
And now it's just like not as exciting.
Which is funny because I actually actively had that in my Amazon cart. And I was like, okay, make sure to re-up this so Connor doesn't run out. And then he made mention. He was like, well, I think I'm going to try to not use it. And I was like, okay, well, I won't buy it. And now I'm like, I probably should have just done it anyway.
We'll see. We will follow up when it comes. But that has definitely added to my intense sugar addiction, which is nothing new. It's nothing from this coffee. I've always loved sugar and cookies and treats.
Your sugar addiction is very different than mine. Yours is more like chocolate and cookies and brownies and cake. Mine is more like I love sour candy. I'm eating they used to be called Shockers, but now they're called Sweet Tart Extremes. So they're super, super sour sweet tarts. Love those. I bought like a giant pack of the sour strawberry belts.
A giant pack.
Like a giant pack. Like it came in with its own little tongs, and I think I ended up buying from Amazon the listing that candy shop owners buy, but instead I bought it for my household and I just ate it myself. which is like probably a really disgusting amount. And then our friends, the Liebmans, shout out to them, introduced us to these Nerd Gummy Clusters. And it's basically a Nerd's Rope, but in little like droplets instead, or little bite-sized versions. And those are so good. But also, again, if you order on Amazon, they don't come in one pack. You have to buy like 3 packs of these. So I bought 3 packs because I was like, oh, I'll probably love this. And now I only have, I think, 1 pack left. So his sugar is very different than mine. Mine is like
you're more into
very,
candy.
very sweet candy.
I don't have much interest in candy.
But see, like, this is such a weird childhood memory of like going to the Sweet Factory in Bellevue Square. For those of you who are local, there used to be, there still might be a Sweet Factory there. That's been there for forever, first off. And that's where my dad, whenever we would go to like the mall or go out, we would stop by Sweet Factory. So I started at a young age. Because my dad also wanted the candy too. So my dad is also a sweet tooth. His is Toblerone though, not candy like my candy. Yeah. But speaking of the limbs,
it's time for everyone's favorite part of Dim Sum Days.
Shit my parents say.
Is it shit my mom says or shit my parents say? We really haven't decided on that.
It's really, it's like all the ridiculousness kind of comes from my mom. My dad has like the quick comeback one-liners, but my mom has the most ridiculous
It's
things.
definitely shit my parents say, but I feel like shit my mom says just fits a little bit better.
You can have either or. Whatever t-shirt you want to wear, that's for you.
We will be making shirts soon.
I know. I want a little Pam Lim face right here. Are you Team Pam or Team Albert? We're not sure. So anyways, I was talking to my parents, and we were talking about bags. My mom is a bag person. She loves to collect bags. She actually, I don't know if you know this, she has a patent on a bag, a dust bag that has like a little clear see-through so you can see which purse it is.
Are you allowed to talk about that?
Yeah, it's filed. She was granted that patent.
Okay.
Yeah. She has this patent. Very cool that my mom has a patent. I feel like not a lot of moms have patents in their names, which is very cool. So I'm very proud of that. But anyways, my mom's a bag lady, and so she was telling me, she's like, oh, I think I'm going to sell some of my bags, and I'm telling her, stop, because that's my inheritance. Which is just like, I want those bags. Those are my bags. Stop selling them.
Or not your bags. Pam, sell those bags.
No, Pam,
don't listen
stop,
to her.
Stop. Pam, those are my bags. Don't listen. He's not even blood. I'm blood.
This girl.
So anyways, my mom was talking about how she hasn't bought a bag in a while. And my mom says, well, don't you worry, because Dad's going to buy me a bag. And my dad, you can hear in the background, he's not even in the FaceTime, in the background, he goes, yeah, which brand do you want? Do you want Albertsons or Winn-Dixie's? And I was like, wow, that's the truth right there. That's an affordable bag that hopefully most people can buy.
Yeah, the Winn-Dixie bag's just going to be so adorable.
Winn-Dixie is a very, not around here kind of grocery
are those
store.
oh no, I was like, what are the Dixie
Those are
cups?
Dixie cups. Winn-Dixie is a grocery store in the South. I grew up with a Piggly Wiggly. If you know what that is, shout out to you, because there's Piggly Wigglies. And so, coming here, and it's kind of bummed that they don't have any Piggly Wigglies. It's just such a cute
So what would the
word.
Seattle version of that be?
A Piggly Wiggly? Like a PCC, but it's not as fancy. It's like a Walmart PCC.
All right.
It's boutique like a PCC, but not as
So
fancy.
Piggly Wiggly is more high end, because PCC is definitely
No, that's
more...
what I'm saying. It's the boutique style, but not high end at all.
Huh. Okay. Interesting. And Piggly Wiggly is quite the name.
Isn't it so cute?
All right, you are crushing that congee.
First off, I was
I'm
hungry.
pretty impressed.
I was really hungry.
I'm sweating. Maybe on a hot day this wasn't the best choice. We have our windows open in the car, and I'm starting to sweat and melt a little bit.
I am getting a little sweaty on the stash area.
This is going to be really good. I think by the time this even comes out, the rain will be back.
Yeah.
It won't be one of this hot weekend.
Which I'm so sad about. Let me take that back. I've enjoyed this sun. I'm really sad it's going away. It's been so nice. I get to dust off some of my summer spring wear. But it's kind of nice that it's in a small dose. This is like a pre-summer prep. So you get the feel for it, and then we're going right back into spring. Seattle spring, which is rain, clouds, colder.
I can't wait for the rain. I hate the sun, and I hate the summer. I'm borderline allergic to the sun. And so I'm ready for it to be cold again. The reason I live in Seattle is because I appreciate the clouds and the overcast weather. Even though the summer is really nice, spring and the fall are my favorite seasons because you get all of them.
You really can't beat a Seattle summer.
All right, next section in the show,
What are we watching, Connor?
It's our watching show of the week. And the thing that we have been not really binge watching, we've actually haven't been able to binge watch it. I feel like we've had to pace it a little bit, but it's called The Serpent on Netflix.
Speaking of Thailand, this show takes place in Bangkok in the 70s. My mom left Bangkok in 75 to emigrate into the United States. So this is like kind of the Bangkok that my mom grew up with. So that's why I'm very interested in it. And then you add on this like crazy semi-true story, like murder mystery kind of deal. And it's been really entertaining, but I agree with you. It's been like an hour-long episode, each episode. And it's like a lot. It's really intense, the episode. So it's just a lot to digest. And so we've been taking it in smaller bites.
Yeah. And it follows people who, it's a murder mystery. So you're, you know what's going on, but it's kind of like, are they going to get caught? How are they getting away with it? All of those kind of details. And it's been really fun. It's cool to watch, see Bangkok from that like 1970s lens, and they do a good job, at least from what we could imagine, all the style and what it would look like. And there's a ton of Thai people that interact, so it looks like they filmed it in Bangkok and everything, which is really cool.
I actually think that while they were doing like some of their scenery scenes, or like they'll go out to eat, I'm like, you know what, honestly, that could be the 70s or it could be now. It looks like it hasn't changed too much, which is nice because it's kind of this like time capsule of like, okay, that part of Thai culture is preserved enough that it hasn't really aged or changed or modified in any way. So when you go, it's just really like, oh, this is how it was. And I'm sure there was actually more street food than there is now. Because I think actually recently the Thai government like stopped allowing street carts or like reduced the number of street carts. So that's a common thing that I've heard. It's like, oh, there's not as many street vendors as I thought. And it's like, well, I think they're trying to clean the streets or make it appear more walkable. Because when you go through like a night market, it's like you are bumper to bumper, like elbow to elbow with a person in front of you, behind you, next to you, and it's very crowded.
I don't know where that comes from because every time I've been there, I've seen plenty of street food and plenty of places to eat. So
listen, common thing that I hear, I have a spreadsheet. I don't know if I told you this. I have a Google Doc of Thailand recommendations because people always ask me, Amanda, I'm going to Thailand. What should I see, do, eat? And I've put together a giant Google Doc of all of my recommendations, including things you should pack, things you should have on hand, places you should know. It's always good.
All right. Well, if anyone needs that list, let us know, and she'll help you out here.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have a quote of the week or a beef of the week?
Not off the top of my head. Do you have a beef of the week?
I had a beef of the week. There was something that I was beefing with you on.
Yeah,
I can't remember what it was, and we didn't write it down on this one. So I think that concludes the episode for the week. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Thanks to and shout out to Secret Congee up in Wallingford. You can give them a Google and check them out if you're interested in trying out congee, or what we call is joke, J-O-K, and tasty. I'd recommend it. Good.
I'm really enjoying this.
I still have some left that I got to eat. Now it starts to get like really soupy. It kind of like melts a little bit. So you got to eat it quickly. I would say come pick it up. Don't get this delivered, especially if it's nice. Eat it in the car. Go for a walk, go down to Gasworks Park down the street, and by the time this gets to your house, I'm not sure if it's
he said melted. It's not cold. It's quite warm.
Well, it's all soupy now. How's that not melted?
It wasn't soupy before?
No, it was like still pretty thick, I feel like.
No, mine was soupy. It's supposed to be soupy.
It's like definitely supposed to be soupy.
It's like a porridge, if you
will.
But yeah, you said melted. I was like, wait, what? It's not cold. It's warm.
Yeah, I guess melted is not the right word. Thanks to my co-host who likes to correct me on everything, Miss Amanda. I'm Connor, and thanks for watching. As always, we'll see you next week.
You want steam bun?